A video on the ridiculous amount of blackberries that I've picked today and what I'm going to do with them. Just a quick run through. Yes, you will notice that things are dirty because I've done another video on something else with blackberries and I couldn't be bothered washing up. There's no point making washing up for yourself, is there? Let's be honest. And we're all friends here. Right, so I picked loads. They are not particularly great quality blackberries. Nothing like the ones that you buy in the shops. However, they are free and there are things you can do with them that will make them lovely. So I'm going to juice them and turn them into a nice refreshing drink. Well, as you can see, they're just not great quality. So there's some nice ones, you know, they're a nice decent size, but there's some that have got this still red bits on. But that's fine for what I'm going to use them for. There's no need to fret. The ones that you buy from the supermarket or the fruit and veg shop are just perfect. But at the moment they are really expensive. They're like £1.99 for about 12, 15 large ones, which I just think is ridiculous, especially when on the bush rows, and they're for free. So yes, just when you're picking them, just be careful. Pick them quite high up. You don't want animals to have weed on them, and you don't want animals to have been eating them, so stay away from fields that have had livestock in them. And if you're going to go into people's land to put blackberries or any fruit, just make sure that you ask permission. This is blackberries, but works just as well with any other soft fruit, just about. Cherries a little bit dodgy, but certainly raspberries and strawberries, same principles apply. It might, I'm not going to sweeten it, but it might just need a bit of lemon juice in it, or I might use some citric acid if I haven't got enough lemons in the house. So pretty straightforward. We're going to puree it. You need to make a really good job of getting as much, as pulping it as much as possible, and then you'll get a higher yield of juice. That'll do for now, because we've got more to do. As much off there as possible. I'm not going to wash it because I've got more to do. That one there. So, out of the way, I have got here a favourite green bucket. Can't believe I've got a favourite green bucket, but I have. I've got 4 of them. Don't tell the others. And then I've got a colander, which just fits nicely in the top of that and doesn't fall through. And then I've got some muslin cloths that I use for cooking, so I'm not that bothered about them being made a mess of by red fruits. They will make a mess and it will stain really badly, but these are for cooking purpose, so I don't really care. Then take puree and pour into the muslin cloth, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to puree the rest of them down, and I'm going to hang that up in the fridge overnight, and all the juice will seep out of it and collect into the bucket underneath, and you'll be left with pulp in the cloth and nice juice in the bucket underneath, which is going to be lovely to drink. I'll taste it tomorrow and see if it needs. I'm going to hang it overnight, so I'll taste it tomorrow and see if it needs any lemon juice adding. I didn't want to add any at the moment. I just don't think it might not need it. So, but we'll correct that tomorrow. So that's it. I'm going to puree more and then I'll hang it up in the fridge, and I'll show you what it's like hung up in the fridge, and then you can get an idea of what you need to be doing. But when you do hang it up, you're basically making a bag. So you take 4 corners, these 2 corners here, be careful of that, these 2 corners over here, and push them together, and then it forms the bag, and that's what it's going to drip into. That's what it's going to form in the fridge. But there we go. So there we go, it's hung up in the fridge. It's not dripping through as much as I would like. I thought it'd be dripping through. You can't see it really dripping through. It's coming through the bag, it's just not dripping through readily. Just be careful, they're quite awkward doing things like this. So I've just tied it to the shelf above with a couple of bag ties, like that. And we'll see what happens if it starts dripping through overnight. It might not. I might do another batch and put it through the sieve first. And then, so I've just got like a pure puree that hasn't got any seeds in and debris. And obviously if that goes through a bag quickly, or quicker. Does that to go? Nope, still not going through. We'll see. It's an experiment. It might not work. We'll go. Who knows? You know, sometimes things go wrong. Maybe today. So, this is an update on the blackberry juice that I was making. It was quite difficult to get the juice out of blackberries through just pureeing it and hanging it up to drip drain. So what I did was I remembered that if you freeze things, it breaks down the water molecules. What water molecules? Yeah, it breaks down the cell walls in the fruit, so the water comes out a lot easier. So this seems to have worked really well. And I think that one is the one that I just pureed the fruit and sieved the seeds out of it, and that's the one that I left the seeds in. So I think sieving out the seeds is a good idea, and then freezing the unsweetened puree and then hanging it up in the fridge seems to be the better idea. I'm going to hang it up for 12 hours or so, give it a good squeeze, and then I'll taste the puree that's still left inside the bags, and maybe be able to get some more juice out of that. I'm doing something similar today with apples, so I think I might actually use the apple juice and then mix it all together, so it's like a blackberry and apple juice. I think that will work really well. I think we'll see how it goes. It's all an experiment. This is the blackberry juice and pulp that's left over. The juice is really intense and kind of quite thick. It's gone a little bit like cordial. I don't know if you can see that too well, but it's really intense. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. I've got a few ideas, but I think I was just going to use it to make it into juice for like a morning drink, but I think that's going to be a bit of a waste, really, because I think it's like a nice. I think I could probably add some, boil it up and add some sugar and make like a really intense cordial, or I could freeze it in ice cube trays and then add it to like sparkling water or lemonade or cava or prosecco or something like that. I think that'd be really nice. But what I am going to do is I'm going to well, I'm running out of space, so I'm going to sieve. You don't need to, but I'm going to sieve the seeds out of. This is the one that had the seeds in. This was the one that was just that I'd sieved and then just put the blackberry pulp. So that one's got the seeds in. I'm going to sieve the seeds out of that because I'm running out of space. I'm faffing around with apple juice at the moment, so I've got not got that much space in the fridges. So I'm going to sieve the seeds out of that, and then I'm going to take the pulp from that and that, mix them together with a load of water, re-puree it, and then I'm going to strain that again overnight and see what kind of flavour I get from that, and then we'll kind of decide. But I think it's just an interesting. It's really intense. It's not very sweet, but it's really intense. So I'll have a think about what I'm going to do with that. But I've got some ideas. But it just seems like a waste to just turn it into a drink that I'll have it in for breakfast, or just to add it to the apple juice that I've got filtering in the fridge at the moment. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll show you how to sieve the seeds out of that. I'll just pause the video and then kind of get this mess out of the way, and then we'll just quickly go through putting it through a sieve, a fine sieve, and then adding water to it and just and sieving it again. So yeah, so I'll just pause and then set things up, and then we'll start again. Right, are we working? Probably. This is how you sieve the seeds from fruit. It's a ridiculous video to show you because it's kind of self-explanatory. So it's a really fine sieve, spoon with the pulp and with the pulp that's got the seeds in it, and you just are going to push the pulp through the fine sieve. The seeds will be left in this side, the pulp will go through to that side under there. I've already done a little bit. So normally to start off with, it's best to use the bottom of the spoon like that, just to get things going. So you're going to push things through on the bottom like that, and then when it gets a little bit thicker, you can start using the edge of the spoon, so it's straight down like that, and then that just breaks down the pulp, and it pushes it through the sieve. As you can see, it's going through, and it's, I can't really show the bottom of the sieve without me tipping the contents into the bowl. But you can see that more's come through, and there's less in the top, so more's gone through there. So you just keep growing it. I don't necessarily think you need to do this to make the blackcurrant? No, not blackcurrant. Blackberry juice. I don't think you need to do this. It's just that I'm running out of space in the fridge, so I'm going to do it this way. I will lose a little bit of flavour, but space is paramount at the moment. I'll just flick that back in because we don't want that in the products underneath. So there we go. That's just. I'm going to keep going. I'll pause the video because you don't need to see it all. But there's one cut. You can see the pulps going through the bottom because I've just got that from the bottom of the sieve. So I'll pause there, and I'll come back when I've sieved it all, which will take a little while. But you know, not scared of a bit of hard work. Right. I've now sieved all that pulp and added it to the other pulp that had been sieved before. I've added some water to speed the process up, and now I'm going to reblend it just to kind of hopefully extract as much flavour out of the pulp that's in there as possible. And then we're going to hang it up in the bag overnight and see what kind of juice we get out of it. Looks like a good amount of water in there. I think it looks. I'm tempted to stick my finger in that then. Yeah, but that looks like it'd be good. All that. I think a little bit more blending, just to kind of get as much juice out of the pulp as possible, and then we'll pour it through the muslin cloth. Right, so all I've done with the muslin cloth is I've just given it a quick rinse through. I wasn't going to stain any more cloths up, so I've just rinsed them through, got rid of any kind of residual sediment that was stuck in the cloth, and that'll be fine. It's only for me, so I'm not particularly bothered. So carefully pour. So as always, there is a strainer, colander, whatever you want to call it, over a container. That fits in nicely. The green buckets that I normally use are being used for something else, so no green bucket. Non-favourite orange container today. So that's fine. 2 layers as always, and then we'll just pour it through carefully. What I'll have to do is I'll have to let it drain for just a little bit before I add the rest of the liquid to it. So I'll let that drain for a bit, just to get some of the liquid going through. Well, you can see there, it's already started to drain through quite quickly, so I can add a bit more. And then I'll hang it up in the fridge, just as I did before, leave it overnight, with the container underneath it, dripping through, and we should have some nice, kind of quite intense liquid come out of the pulp. It's not coming through just yet, it will do. Some intense liquid coming through, won't be just as intense as the first batch, but it'll just mean that we'll extract as much flavour out of it as possible. So that's it until tomorrow morning. Well, I'll hang it up, you don't want to see that, but there we go, that's it for now. And back again with the damned blackberry juice. I've decided what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to try and make a cordial out of some of it. So I've got 250 millilitres of the pure first pressing juice. I'm going to add some sugar to that and maybe a bit of lemon to balance the kind of flavours and the acidity. So I'll add 50 grams, which is that much, and then we'll see how we go. Let it melt, and then give it a taste. I have got some more sugar, so that'll just take a second. And we're back after faffing around. So this has come up to the boil, sugar's melted, it's quite sweet, but I think another 50 grams will do it, and it'll turn it into a syrup, so it'll be like a cordial. When it cools down, it obviously, when you've got sugar in things and it's hot, it's certainly a lot more liquid. Viscose is the right word. It'll thicken up when it cools down, so we'll just add that in there and that'll be fine. Normally when you're making sugar syrups, it's normally equal quantities of water and sugar. I'm not wanting to do that kind of syrup, so I'm using less sugar, because always you can add, but very difficult to take it away if you're adding things like salt or sugar or anything like that. So it's melted all the way through. I find that's quite delicious, is that? I don't think it needs any lemon, so I think what I'll do is I will put that in a bottle, let it go cold. I'm going to keep it in the fridge. I don't think there's enough sugar in there to kind of preserve it indefinitely. Yeah, I think I'll just put it into a bottle, a nice clean bottle, and I'll keep it in the fridge, and then we'll have a look at it tomorrow when it's cooled down and see how kind of syrupy it is. But I think that will be absolutely spot on, and that'll be the type of thing that you can add to anything you want. So like tonic water, soda water, lemonade, anything like that. Even if you wanted to sweeten up a glass of cava or something like that, it's going to be like a really nice cordial. I'm quite surprised. I'm going to have another taste. That is delicious. That is delicious. That's going to be really nice, is that? But we'll see how it tastes tomorrow. I might need to adjust the acidity levels, but it should be fine. But that's okay. But that's it for now. Well, there will be more. There's always more. This seems to be turning into a bit of a complete faff. However, when you give up, then you fail. If you never give up, you never fail. This here is the juice from the second pressing of the Blackberries. It's quite intense. It's got a good colour to it. Can you see the colour? It's quite nice to drink, is that? However, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a go at reducing it and making a molasses. Because you can make pomegranate molasses, so therefore I can't see why you can't make blackberry molasses. So, stainless steel pan. You can't use aluminium because the acidity in the fruit will react with the aluminium in the pan and it will taint the flavour. And it's a little bit dangerous, is aluminium. You shouldn't really be having it in your body. And yes, so bring it slowly up to the boil and then simmer it, and we'll by reducing it we'll evaporate off a lot of the water, and then we're left with a more concentrated version of that, which potentially might go to a molasses, although molasses needs to be quite a bit of sugar in it, and there isn't that much sugar in that, so we'll see how we go. We'll see if it works. Otherwise we'll just end up with a really concentrated blackberry juice, so we'll see how we go. But I think that's what I'm going to do. So stainless steel pan, bring up to the boil, not too quickly because you don't want it to burn, and then a slow simmer just to evaporate off excess water and concentrate it. Right, so the blackberry juice is slowly coming up to the boil. As you can see, there is some scum on the top of the juice, which is impurities. If you don't remove the impurities from the top, it will boil back into the juice, well, simmer back into the juice and turn it cloudy. So it's best just to use a ladle or a spoon just to take off those impurities, so it will be a clearer and not cloudy when it's done. So that there, and then we'll just bring it up to the boil, and then we'll turn it down to a slow simmer. So you can see things moving around more, and just before it comes to boiling point, I'll turn it right down, and it'll just slowly simmer away and reduce. We'll reduce it by half to start off with, and then we'll see how we go. But now and again, giving it a just taking the sediment off the top of the of the juice as we go. So it's coming up to the boil, so that's about as far as I want to take it to the boil, and we'll just turn it down and it'll slowly reduce and get rid of the excess moisture and intensify the flavour. So just a little bit more. You just have to watch it. Once you get it to a good simmering point, you can leave it and walk away. You just have to watch it, and that's about right. That's what it wants to be doing, just slowly moving around, and then the impurities aren't going to boil rapidly. If you boil it rapidly, those impurities are going to go straight back into the juice and just make it go cloudy, whereas I don't want that. I want it kind of quite clear. So you can see more impurities coming to the top, so I'll give it another quick go over, and then we'll just let it simmer away. There we go, like that, and that'll be fine. That's about right, and that'll leave it. We'll leave it until it's reduced by half. Might take an hour, might take a little bit more. We'll just keep an eye on it and sporadically have a look at it. So the blackberry juice has now reduced by, I'd say, actually 2/3 rather than a half. It's quite intense in flavour. I'll stick my finger in. It's quite intense in flavour. It's not going to thicken up like molasses, like a pomegranate molasses. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it into a cordial by adding sugar into it. So it should work. So there is about 900 millilitres in there, and I'm going to add 350 grams of sugar, and I'll taste it with a spoon this time instead of my finger. And then if we need to add any lemon just to adjust the acidity levels, we'll do that. But the sugar will melt quite quickly. To be honest, this has been a complete and utter faff, but an interesting experiment, as most of the things that I do are a bit of a faff, but this is been kind of interesting. I don't know the best way to extract juice from berries. This certainly isn't it. That's nice. That's really nice. Is that? It doesn't taste like blackberries that you put in your mouth at all. Like, no, that makes a stupid thing to say. It doesn't taste like actual blackberries, the fruit. It tastes different, but it's still very nice. So I think that's about right. Doesn't need more sugar. No, I don't think so. I think that's perfect. It doesn't need any more lemon or anything like that. What I'll do is I'll bring it up to the bowl, make sure all the sugar is completely dissolved, and put it in a glass bottle, and then let it cool down, and then use that as like a cordial, put in drinks and things like that. I think that'll be very nice. Complete faff, but at least something good came out of it. Right, these are the two cordials I made. This is from the first pressing of the blackberries, and this is for the second pressing of the blackberries that I then reduced. They're both, can you really see? So you can see they're both really nice and shiny, and they've got a nice consistency to them. This one, the second pressing, is slightly nicer because of mostly down to reduction. Reducing it, but they're both nice shiny colour and have a nice taste, really nice as well. So sadly in the UK we have a thing called the sugar tax, which has made manufacturers change how they make cordials and things. So they've cut out a lot of the sugar and put in all kinds of other horrible things, which has changed the flavour of lots of really nice drinks and kind of made me not want to drink them. So this is a nice alternative. Bit of a faff, and I don't recommend that you actually do it yourself, but it was a nice interesting experiment. So pour that in there, some cordial, and then some decent quality tonic water, and you can see how it turns out. So nice colour, nice and see-through, lovely flavour to it. And it's really quite simple. So it's just basically fruit juice and sugar, and that's it. And I didn't even need to put any any like citric acid in it to kind of balance flavors. It was a lot of work, but I'm really quite proud of that. Potentially something I will do in future. I'm sure I'll be able to work out an easier way
less of a faffy way of doing it, but yeah, very very nice thing. I don't know why the manufacturers have cut out the sugar. Personally, I prefer to pay a little more and get the product that I wanted. But I can make my own now, so I don't really care. And that's it. It was a faff, but was it worth it? Probably, maybe. I'm not too sure.